We are live.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the live stream launch of the Green Hornet and Cato Detroit Noir City.
We got
What's that?
We got 7 people. Hi, everybody. Please put.
Hey, all right. We already got people in. So my name is David Boop. I am the editor of the Anthology. And along with us is Frank over there is going to be our engineer and moderator. I will be hosting, but I am very honored right now. We're going to go through and introduce the authors who are making this anthology a reality. So we'll start in the upper corner with Megan. Megan, hi, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Megan Mackey. I'm an author of urban fantasy and paranormal romance, and I'm really happy to have been a part of this anthology.
Awesome. And then down below, we have got Kim May. Tell us a little something about you, Kim.
Hey, I write everything. Most of my work is sci-fi fantasy, but I've written weird westerns, thrillers, historicals,
kitchen sinks.
Yep. Excellent.
Makes life interesting.
Yeah. And then last but certainly not least is Michael Haspel. Hi. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. I'm Michael Haspel, and I write science fiction and fantasy, and kind of across the board a little bit. You know, I've mill SF and urban fantasy and traditional fantasy and sci-fi western, kind of all that stuff.
Very cool. Yeah, I've been very fortunate to work with most of these authors on other anthologies or been in TOCs with them and so forth. So I know, or I should say, I knew going in they were all going to give us incredible stories, which they absolutely did. And we're going to talk about those in just a moment. We also may have some other guests show up throughout the broadcast, the stream, which should be about an hour. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get ready to go and launch this thing, make it live on Kickstarter and so forth. Yeah, I see break a bottle over a book or something.
No,
over your head. Save a book. Just do it over your head.
There you go. It's thick enough. People will tell you that. But hey, Frank, can we throw in the link to the Kickstarter? Is that available under the comments or in the description or something?
Yep, we do that right now.
Okay, so Frank's going to get to do that. So while he's doing that and we get ready to launch here in just about a minute and a half, let me tell you a little bit about the anthology. So first of all, it is a 90th anniversary anthology. As of tomorrow, it will be 89 years since the Green Hornet and Cato debuted on radio as a radio serial, which is just crazy to think about, that this character has been around longer than, Batman, Superman, at least almost 3 out of 4 of the Fantastic Four. So, I mean, this guy is like right at the beginning. And of course, very much inspired by the Lone Ranger. In fact, Britt is related to the Lone Ranger, which is a little bit of a history there as well. So this anthology, 90th anniversary anthology, is featuring a whole bunch of great authors in addition to these guys, and we'll talk about them throughout the broadcast. But our headliners are Timothy Zahn, who is a Star Wars author known for creating the character Thrawn, which has been hugely popular. Kevin J. Anderson, who Kim had the luck to actually write a story with him. Pretty cool, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. And Bill Willingham of Fables gave us a story, great story. Keith DeCandido, the late James A. Moore, cover by Matt Wagner of Batman and Grendel fame. And we'll be talking a little bit about the soon to be revealed alternate cover by Dennis Calero, who did a lot of the Marvel noir, like, X-Men noir and so forth. So I think it's just about time to go live. What do you guys think? You guys ready?
Yeah, let's launch it.
All right, let's give a 10 countdown. Are we ready?
Yep.
All right. 10, 9,
9,
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're live. Woohoo! Mazel tov, everybody. Woo!
Salud.
Well, it's thinking. But yeah, hit the button.
I was expecting balloons to fall on your head.
I have a lot of things in this office.
That was the most unharmonized countdown I've ever heard.
It's pretty impossible to do that over like a.
Yeah, with batching. I blame China. It's deep.
So for all of you 11 that are watching right now, please put your name in the chat so I can number each of you, because we're going to be doing giveaways every 15 minutes, and I won't know who to give it to if I don't know who's in the stream. So please, of course, I know Trish is in there now, but I don't know anyone else.
Oh my God.
So please.
Is it possible to see? I don't know. Oh, there it is. Comments. I can see where. So yeah. Oh, so Trish is in there. Hi, Trisha. She's amazing. Nathan Mods, one of my students.
Daniel.
How you doing, Nathan? Don't worry, we will be getting back to your SATs this weekend. So, and Sumiko made it! Yay! Hey, everybody! You just missed the going live, but you're in plenty of time to tell us something about yourself. Everybody, Sumiko Salston.
Oh, hi. Well, first of all, it's Sumiko, not Sumiko, but that's okay.
Oh, okay. I've never heard it pronounced. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's okay. It's Sumiko. It's a Japanese name. So my mom named me after one of her friends. She was 20 when I was born, so she still had a lot of close friends from high school. And she had 2 really close friends. So my mom's African American, and her friends, one of them was a white lady and the other one was Japanese, and obviously I'm named after the Japanese one. But they used to this was in LA, right? They used to go to Hollywood Boulevard, and they had a tambourine, and they would panhandle with their tambourine to get into the nightclubs, and people called them the Mod Squad.
Oh. Well, very cool. And of course, the Japanese connection is very important when we're talking about Kato and everything like that. So very cool. And then what do you normally write?
I am a horror writer. In fact, I am a Bram Stoker nominated horror poet.
Ooh. Very cool. And for those of you who don't know what the Bram Stoker is, it's the award given out by the Horror Writers Association. Well, very good. Very good. All right, so we're going to kick it around here, and I'm going to ask each of you a little bit about your story, and also, like, I don't know, some sort of fond memory you might have about watching the Green Hornet, whether you watched it originally, or if any of us are that old, or in reruns. And we'll start with Mike. We'll go kind of in reverse order here. So, Mike, tell us a little bit about your story, what the inspiration was for it.
Well, the inspiration for it was when you contacted me and you said, "Hey, we're going to do a Green Hornet story set in the 60s in Detroit." I was like, "Well, there's no way we can't touch the 12th Street riots. Like that's probably the most significant event in the late 60s that happened there. So I wanted to do a story about that, but not necessarily about the 12th Street riots, but just like in them. Like what would the Green Hornet, what could he do? You know, among such chaos and like US troops on the ground. You know, what is he doing, especially since he's kind of posing as a criminal, you know? How could he still operate? So that was kind of my inspiration for the story.
Very cool. Very cool. And tell me about your memories about.
Oh yeah. So the first I heard of the Green Hornet, honestly, was watching. I was a big Batman fan growing up, and of course they have the famous or the infamous crossover episode of the Green Hornet and Batman, where Bruce Lee is doing some serious work, not to just beat Robin to a pulp. And it's you know, he made him look really good. He made Burt Ward look really good.
Yeah, I remember that episode.
Right.
But when I was rewatching the show in preparation for this, I'm a huge Conan the Barbarian fan, and one of my favorite actors in that is Mako, and he's in the Green Hornet, and I thought it was just actually pretty cool. He's like the head of an Asian secret society.
Oh,
and of course, during the time frame that it's set, I don't think they were paying attention to who or where anyone was from.
right.
So they confused all the ethnicities, but it was still really cool to see him in the Green Hornet squaring off against Bruce Lee. It was great.
That's
it was
awesome.
nice little Easter egg.
I also found out we have an introduction by Paul Jenkins, who's instrumental for pulling Marvel Comics out of their tailspin. And he mentioned that John Carradine was actually in an episode, which is kind of cool because, of course, the connection is David Carradine went on to do Kung Fu later on. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool guest stars when you go back and you watch those original episodes. All right, so why don't, before I go to Kim, let's. Do you have Kevin J. Anderson's video queued up by any chance, Frank?
Yeah, I can do that. And then let me see.
Yeah, why don't we run Kevin's video real quick for everybody? So Kevin unfortunately could not make it. He's preparing for both his own Kickstarter coming up next month and also Superstars of Writing, which is a writing workshop that happens in Colorado Springs. That's not just about writing, but also the business and marketing and so forth of writing, of which I know Kim's an alumni. Michael's an alumni. Megan, you're an alumni?
Yeah, yeah.
Megan's an alumni. I think only Sumiko might not be an alumni yet, but we'll get her there eventually.
You wanted Tim's on?
No, just Kevin for now. We'll come to Tim in a little bit.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, let me just do I put in the wrong one. I mean, I think it's thinking right now. Oops.
So since Kevin and Kim wrote together, I thought it'd be good to do the two of them at the same time.
All right. All right. I got him on pause, so you can't see him, right?
Not yet.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. Good. Can you hear me or no? Can you hear me or no?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Let me bring. Okay, let me bring in the other one. And you want Kevin.
Oh.
And I got to do that giveaway.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Because it has. Yeah, it has to load in. Hold on a second.
Okay. So
there we go.
I am so delighted to have a story in this book and to share my childhood fascination for Green Hornet. I wrote a story with my writing Padawan Kim May about Kato's day off and the trouble he gets into when he's not having adventures with the Green Hornet. I remember just being a kid and watching the Green Hornet TV show in the mid 60s. And it came on after the Batman show. And my sister and I would be all wound up running around the house, and then we would sit still and watch Green Hornet. And this is like this wonderful nostalgic thing for me to be able to contribute to the legend of the Green Hornet.
Okay. All right. So there's your
All right.
partner in crime, your
Yeah, before-
dynamic duo, Kim. Tell us about the story.
Well, before that, it's the 15-minute spot. So let me
okay.
do a quick giveaway here for the Green Hornet book. It's going to be a case file, soft cover, Green Hornet book. And we're going to do a randomized only 1 through 3 because we only have 2 of them right now, or 2 or 3 people right now. And the number 3 came up, and that would be Randy. So Randy,
Excellent.
you are the winner.
That's my brother-in-law.
All right.
No nepotism here.
So I'll get.
We will make
So
sure
I
to
will,
get you your copy. All right. So,
all right, so I will, yeah, we'll do that later.
all right. Congratulations. Okay, so now Kim, tell us about the inspiration and the experience of writing with Kevin.
Writing with Kevin is just, it was effortless. It was just a better partnership than I could have ever imagined. And just from a career standpoint, really satisfying. Because as he said, I feel so embarrassed they called me his writing Padawan. But I mean, he's been one of my mentors since I first started to seriously pursue writing and publishing as a career. He and his wife, Rebecca, bought 2 short stories from me. In fact, those were my first 2 professional sales that they bought for anthologies they were editing at the time. And so now to level up again and be a collaborator is just so rewarding and satisfying. And but from the start, Kevin and I were both in agreement that we wanted this to be a Cato story from his point of view, and it's him solving the problem all by himself without Brit. So we could really show in ways that the TV show didn't what he was capable of and how clever he was on his own.
And yeah, and it's a great story. And I agree with you. I've had the fortune of writing with Kevin once. He's so easy to work with, and that's why he collaborates so often with people, whether it's Rebecca, his wife, or Brian Herbert on the Dune stuff. He and I did one where it's giant mechs used as anger management therapy. And that's a short story we sold, and now it's going to be a comic in the fall. So yeah, just a fun guy to work with, and so much knowledge. It's ridiculous. So what are your memories of the Green Hornet?
Well, it's not a show that I watched growing up. I wanted to, but nobody ever syndicated it. I watched everything else. I watched Kung Fu, both the original show and the sequel show. I watched Batman. I watched everything. So it wasn't until it got loaded onto YouTube that I was finally able to watch the show. And, you know, some shows don't age well, but Green Hornet does. Those stories are still exciting.
Remarkably so. Yeah. I mean, one of the things they didn't do, the Batman, the Adam West, Burt Ward Batman is very campy. The Green Hornet, they did not make campy at all. It is played very seriously. Yeah, which maybe hurt it because it only lasted 1 season, but at the same time, we have this lightning in a bottle of these great episodes that introduced us to Cato and everything like that. So, yeah. All right. So let's go ahead.
Before we continue, remember to pledge now. I just put the link of the Kickstarter into the comment section. So pledge now. And then anyone that would like to get into the next giveaway in 10 more minutes, please put your name in the chat.
Okay.
And thanks to Trisha, who I think might be our first backer. So thank you very much there.
Thank
well,
you.
no,
Trish.
right now we're up to about to break $400. We have 8 backers right now.
Yay!
Excellent.
Very good. Very good. Thank you all for
Begins.
jumping in there. Okay, before we go to Megan, do you still have that Timothy Zahn ready? Frank?
I do. Yep.
Okay, so let's hear from Tim Zahn, who is an incredibly busy guy who took some time to not only write the story but also record this video for us. And he's got a little bit of news about a stretch goal for us. So when you're ready, Frank, let's go.
Okay.
Let's see if we can get the volume up a little bit.
Noir anthology.
Unlike
most of you, I'm old enough to
volume's all the way up.
TV run of the Green Hornet.
All right,
Love the show, fascinated by the character.
I just pulled it back. Hold on, I'm going to restart it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm Timothy Zahn, author of Star Wars: Heir to the Empire and Four of a Kind. My contribution to this new Green Hornet and Cato Detroit Noir anthology. Unlike most of you, I'm old enough to have grown up watching the original TV run.
Is it messing up on your guys' side too?
Fascinated by the character, Cato fight, and especially love the Black Beauty. So when I was asked to do the story, I simply tried to capture that same feel and excitement I'd felt back as a teenager in the 60s. My contribution bonus story will be another story about
I'm not sure why
the young cat burglar I introduced in Four of a Kind.
Maybe my internet.
Except that
yeah, I tell you, it's China. It's deep sea. It's always that's the answer to everything.
What's that?
Nothing.
Did it play all the way through? Did you?
Kind of.
Huh? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it may have been too big of a file too. I don't know. This is our first time doing this. There's a lot to learn. Okay, so what he said basically was that he watched it in the original run, and that he wanted to capture those original episodes in a way that he remembered them. And then he said that one of the stretch goals will be, if we reach it, he is going to write a second story featuring the character he introduces in Four of a Kind, Jinx, who's a cat burglar. And so we have to hit that stretch goal, and then you will get a second Timothy Zahn story digitally. So because he hasn't written it yet. So we'll send that out digitally to your email. You can use in any reading Nook or Kindle or whatever you use, Kobo, where we'll get you that if we hit that stretch goals. All right, so Megan.
Yes. Hi.
Hi. So tell us about your story. What was the inspiration?
Okay, so my short story is The Legends of Gallo Hartley, and there was a lot of different things that came into that, but like this will also tie into my connection to Green Hornet. Is I used to watch the Adam West Batman and the Green Hornet reruns on, like, I think it was Nick at Night at my grandmother's house, so they were always back to each other. So for me, I guess it amalgamated in my mind that, like, I loved the Batman Catwoman foil, and I didn't know or really feel like there was a good, strong female foil for the Green Hornet. So I wrote Gallows Hartley and created a whole legend behind her and stuff. And we get to explore it, get started with it, and maybe some surprises come out. I don't want to give too much away about how it ends, but That was kind of like I wanted to make somebody cool who was an investigative reporter who has got a secret identity and some her own kind of gadgets and stuff. And so I went and had a lot of fun. And it was especially interesting for me because I wrote the last half of that story while I was sitting in the lobby at Disney World about to go do the Galaxy Cruise thing. That sadly is no longer no more, but was an amazing trip for me. So I'm sitting there with Disney memorabilia all around me, typing away at my computer, trying to get this done before we go into our immersive experience. So, it probably has a lot of extra flair and Imaginarium magic soaked into it, I hope.
No, it's a lot of fun. It's a great story. And it does, one of the things when, for those of us who have done media tie-in before, Mike, I know you've worked with Warhammer and stuff like that. And Kim, you did what was it, Predator?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So one of the things they always tell us is leave no trace, right? They always say, to make sure that you don't make any changes to the canon. But one thing I learned from Dayton Ward, who's mentored me, is there's a point where you're so far removed from it that you can make some subtle changes as long as you don't change the characters themselves. For example, with my Green Hornet story, which was in the one he just gave away, Case Files, they had always talked about Cato being the best driver in the world. Well, I got to thinking, what the heck? Is it only cars? Or can he drive other things better than everybody else? So I gave them a boat, a hydrofoil boat called the Black Barracuda. And it's a thing that's now in the Moonstone canon that can be used, but doesn't actually change anything within the history. And what you added with Gallows Hartley is not anything that changes the history or the character, but adds some nuance to it.
Yeah.
That I absolutely loved, that coloring just outside the box.
Yeah, I feel very Indiana Jones moving through the traps, trying to make sure I keep balanced on the pedestal and all that. Like, respect the canon, but add something cool. So I survived. I'm on the other side. I passed through my edits, and I feel like that was a good day.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, we got another giveaway before we go to Sumiko. Sumiko, sorry. I'll get that right. I've been saying it in my head for a couple years now. I will get there. All right.
So we have Trisha, Nathaniel, and Slasher in this one. So we have back to 3. And looks like Trisha.
Woo! And which one did she get?
All right. So Trisha, we're giving the same thing away. That's why I have to cancel people
it's
out.
Case Files.
It's
Okay.
It's the case file. It's the white case file that's on the picture of the thing. So,
and if you bring
Trisha, I'm going to, and then long shot. So now I can add long shot to this.
No, that's me. That's me.
Oh, that's you. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm Long Shot Productions. In fact, that's where I am.
Right,
I'm at the nerve center of Long Shot Productions. So
Trisha, okay.
And Trisha, when I see you at Dragon Con, if you bring the book, I'll sign it for you. So
I'll sign it too. I'll be
well,
there.
I am going to need your address and stuff like that. So please email me your info. Right. And you can keep going. I'll type this out. So keep going.
Okay. All right. Sumiko, so tell us a little bit about your story. What was the inspiration for it?
So I also was inspired by the 12th Street riots, but in my case, rather than it being actually in the heart of it, it's the actual days leading up to it. And I did include Willie Horton, which is a real life character, who was playing with the Tigers, who gave a speech, and some real life locations. But my grandparents met in Detroit. So my mom was not born in Detroit, but my mom's parents and neither of them were born in Detroit, but they actually met there. So, and the one time I went there was visiting my grandmother's younger brother. So I definitely wanted to make it really very rooted in the African American community. Like I said, my mom was Black, so her parents were Black, and they were there in the 40s. They weren't there in the 60s, but you know, that's a lot of the inspiration. So the main character that I have in there, Dolores, is a young Black woman who is returning from being in California, which is where I happen to live, and going to UC Berkeley. And she's got all these really great ideas from having engaged with like the Black Panthers and stuff like that. But she's coming to Detroit, and it's a very different environment. So because so much of the story deals with police corruption, of course, I did put the DA, Frank Scanlon, in there. You know, so yeah,
as definitely a guy who doesn't like corruption in his departments at all. So despite the fact that he knows he's supporting a master criminal who is actually a superhero. So,
yeah. And
it gets complex sometimes. And one of the things, and all of you did a really good job of this, is the idea of, oh, there's Paul. Paul Jenkins. Can we get? We'll see if we can drag him in to the link for Inside. But one of the things every one of you did really well was capture the feel of Detroit in the years that you wrote, including names of people, streets, businesses, and so forth. You guys all did a phenomenal job with that. So Sumiko, Sumiko, get it right. Yeah, I do it enough times. What do they say? You got to habit is like 21 times and it only takes one to break it. But Sumiko, you're kind of new to Green Hornet, right? You didn't.
No, that's not true. My parents were ginormous fans of Bruce Lee. And so I was only 5 years old when he died. But when he died, they took me to, they had a Green Hornet showing. I mean, I was only 5 years old. I was a little kid, but I still remember it. That was basically part of a Bruce Lee like film festival that they had. So
That's
they were
cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
oh yeah, you hadn't mentioned that. That's really awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
So do we have Keith DeCandido's? Did I get it right?
Yeah, I'll get that in a second. But I wanted to announce that we have broke our first $1,000.
Woohoo! Yeah. All right.
That's worth a drink.
Excellent.
All right.
All right. So Sumiko came to us as a recommendation from the very prolific media tie-in and other author Keith DeCandido. DeCandido. I names today. DeCandido. So and here's his video greeting.
Hold on, I got his thing up. Yeah, want me to go ahead and play it, or want me to remove it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Pleasure and honor of being one of the contributors to the Green Hornet and Cato Detroit Noir City. I've been a fan of the Green Hornet and Cato's since I first saw them on the Adam West Batman in the Piece of the Action Batman Satisfaction two-parter in which the Hornet and Cato guest starred. That led me to eventually watching the Green Hornet TV series with Bruce Lee and Van Williams and becoming a huge fan. I also a martial artist, which I suppose at least in part comes from watching Bruce Lee as a kid. I'm a 4th degree black belt in karate, and so getting to write Cato in particular was a huge thrill, and I couldn't resist having my story city, folk martial art, Chinatown, and the things that Chinatown in Detroit was going through in the late 1960s. My story is titled "Everybody Was Kung Fu Fighting."
Yeah, I'm wondering if
enjoy
it's.
it, and I hope you enjoy the anthology.
Let me try something else here and see if it works any better.
Well,
I'm gonna remove it in
that's
a
our third
second.
video.
Let me see if a sharing of a screen is easier.
You know, I kind of like Keith stuck
Well,
in
let me hold on a second. Let me just
Yeah.
in the wax headroom.
So,
hold on, my screen is
Shamiko, when did you first meet Keith?
Well, that hello. I don't remember. I didn't know I was going to be asked this question. But I do remember when Keith asked me about the anthology, because he said, do you like Kato? And of course I like Kato. My parents were huge fans of Bruce Lee. So that was a definite yes. And I was like, I mean, I don't have, let me put it, this is the first media tie-in story that I've written other than like ElfQuest fan fiction. So yeah.
Oh, that's a good call. You know, if you're gonna write fan fiction, ElfQuest is great stuff. Yeah. I keep hearing that there's going to be a ElfQuest animated series, but until I actually see a trailer, I won't believe that it's happening. So
yeah, they just came out with a voice series, so that's something. It's almost like
a radio drama. Yeah,
like a radio drama.
Yeah, well, very good. Hey, so is Paul?
So David, before we start, you guys can't hear me. I want to try to do a screen grab instead of an upload and see if that works any better. All right. Let's see. Now. Let me see if I can find him
here. So Paul Jenkins did our introduction with Peter Wax.
And you guys.
And so we're going to try to get him in here. Fascinating guy, by the way. I got to meet him.
We're up to 1,200 now.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fun watching that number go up real fast like that.
That's awesome.
Okay, so you guys can see that?
I see.
Can you see him now?
There we go. I see him now. All right.
Hello. Thank you. I have the singular pleasure and honor of being one of the contributors to the Green Hornet and Kato Detroit Noir City. I've been a fan of the Green Hornet and Kato since I first saw them on the Adam West Batman, a piece of the action Batman Satisfaction two-parter in which the Hornet and Kato guest starred. That led me to eventually watching the Green Hornet TV series with Bruce Lee and Van Williams, and becoming a huge. Also a martial artist, which I suppose, at least in part, comes from watching Bruce Lee as a kid. I'm a fourth-degree black belt in karate, and so getting to write Kato in particular was a huge thrill, and I couldn't resist having my story for Detroit Noir City, focusing on the martial arts and on Chinatown and the things that Chinatown in Detroit was going through in the late 1960s. So my story, inevitably, is titled "Everybody Was Kung Fu Fighting." Hope you enjoy it, and I hope you enjoy the anthology.
All right. Yes, he did give me a story called "Everybody."
Did that work better?
A little. Yeah, it still broke up a little bit, but not as bad. So yeah. So that's just a couple of the people that we have in there. Some of the others. And I want to take a moment to talk about my friend Jim Moore. So James A. Moore, incredibly prolific writer as well. He's worked in several different properties, Aliens, and one of the bigger ones, and so forth. I met him at a writer's retreat up in Maine that was being held at the Von Trapp Family Resort. So, you know, we're all horror writers, and we're there seeing nothing but memorabilia from The Sound of Music, which gives you some really interesting dreams, let me tell you, at night. But James and I were supposed to work on a story together, and it didn't happen, unfortunately. But I was, oh yeah, and Trisha was there too. But I was fortunate enough to get 2 stories from Jim. And there's Keith. The first one was for one of my Weird Western anthologies. I edited 3 of those for Bane. But then when it came to Green Hornet, I really, really wanted a story from him. And because knowing that he has worked in pulp and things like that. Unfortunately, Jim had been going through several serious health issues, diabetes, heart disease, and various other things. And to my knowledge, the story that's in here is the last story he wrote. I don't know if it's the last story that will ever be published, but it's definitely the last one he wrote, from what I've been told. So I feel honored that he gave me this. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't miss him. Incredible sense of humor, kind, caring, generous man, and hell of a frickin' writer. His fantasy series, great. Oh my God, it was so good. And all of his tie-in work was amazing. I you know, the good ones sometimes leave us way too soon. So let's just, you know, whatever you got, let's just raise a quick little glass to Jim Moore, and thank you for him actually giving us this one last story. Jim, we miss you.
Salud.
He was. Absolutely. Okay, so I forwarded a message to Paul. Hopefully he'll make it in here. Let's talk about some of the other authors we have. Matthew Baugh, who we thought might make it tonight, but he hasn't shown up yet. Candido. Yes, I'm Candido. And that's where I get stuck, is the candy part, right? The candy, I get stuck in that. It's just like, he's not Keith Candy, except, you know, that's his stripper name. We all know that. His brief time with Chippendales. Talk about coming out and taking off masks. Yes. So we have Matthew Baugh, who has done a lot of work for Moonstone in the past. He has written Lone Ranger and Tonto. He has written The Avenger. He has written for Green Hornet and Domino Lady and a few others. Sorry, he couldn't make it here today, unless he shows up in the next few minutes. And Mary Fan has given us a story, and she does a lot of urban fantasy, it looks like, and some epic across the board. She was another recommendation from Keith, and again, amazing story. But it looks like it's almost time for another drawing. So if you're in the chat, if you're watching this live, please make sure your name is in the chat. All you have to do is just write yes or whatever.
Yeah, just say hello and I'll be able to record your name.
Yeah.
But I have
So
Nathaniel right now, Slasher, and Eugene. That's all I have right now. So, and hopefully you three are still there.
Yeah.
Because we're going. So this is your last case we have. And who else?
Yep, Nathan, we know you.
Yep.
We got you.
Okay. Anybody else want to jump in last minute? Because we're going to do I basically have a randomizer, and I have one.
Oh, Deborah.
Deborah
just got in there.
Okay. Deborah. Anybody else? So I have 1, 2, 3. I have 4, 5 people now. So I'm going to be randomizing 1 through 5. And we have number 5. So Nathaniel's 1, Slasher is 2, Eugene, and that would be Deborah.
Woo, Deborah. All right. You just earned yourself
You'll be getting a copy. So Deborah, I will need your please.
Yeah.
Me your contact.
Yeah. Well,
address.
I may have that one. So.
And David, Paul is waiting in the backstage area.
Oh, okay. Can we get Paul in?
Yep.
This
studio. We're limited to 6 people. That's why.
Oh, okay. I didn't know I had a cutoff.
I can drop out and let him in. You just let me know.
Okay. Yeah, Megan. Why don't you step out? And let's get Paul in, and if he leaves, we'll get you. So we'll just put you backstage, and then we'll get Paul in, and then if he pops out, we'll bring you back. All right.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining.
Megan.
No worries. No worries. Talk to you in a few.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Paul Jenkins. Hello, sir.
Good David, how you doing? Hi, everyone.
Hi. It's so funny. Megan, who just dropped off, had a cat, and you've got a cat. So, basically, we're not even missing her anymore.
Like for like, yeah.
This is a cat.
I always have a cat. This is Claudius. He's my little buddy. He never leaves me alone. So he's hanging out for the duration, unfortunately.
So, Paul, for those people who don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, obviously, I'm from Great Britain, so the idea of describing myself is literally awful. British people we don't talk about ourselves.
Well, your career. You can talk about your career.
Yeah. Well, I just don't want my mum to find out I've been talking about myself because she'll smack me around the back of the head. Well, I started as the second employee of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, actually, when I came over from the States. I was 20 years old. And, I met the guys and they just had a black and white comic, but I was a musician. And so they did an album cover for my band and I broke my leg playing football and or soccer, as you quaintly call it over here. And I went to them and said, hey, it looks like things are taking off because they sold the rights to make a toy and a TV show. And that was the Ninja Turtles. And so we're in this tiny office in Northampton, Massachusetts. And all of a sudden this thing exploded and I'm 21, 22. By the time I was 23, I was the director of a publishing company. So it's a really crazy kind of experience. And I worked in the publishing side for a long time. But then I went to Marvel and they were I went to DC. I actually broke it into the comic book industry in a strange way. Because I don't think anybody can go to San Diego Comic-Con and get a job as a writer. And I just literally showed up and I found out that Hellblazer didn't have a writer. So I asked the editor if I could try out. And there were lots and lots of established professionals trying out, but they gave me the gig. So it was the first thing I'd ever written, which is pretty crazy. So I wrote Hellblazer, the John Constantine character. And then I went to Marvel because they were in bankruptcy and they asked me, was I interested in bringing the kind of writing that I did to superheroes. So I went to Marvel in bankruptcy. They were very close to Chapter 7. And they gave me a book called The Inhumans, and The Inhumans, I'd never heard of them, so I don't really know that much about comics. I didn't, and when I got it, they hadn't won an Eisner in 15 years, and we won an Eisner for the first thing I wrote for them. So so I was able to sort of parlay that into all the things I wanted to do. But I'm a weird kind of person because I don't really have a big adherence to the American comic industry in some ways, because I grew up in Great Britain with 2000 AD and all that stuff. But we liked American comics, right? Mm-hmm. So I created a character called the Sentry for them, which is in the new Thunderbolts movie. And a lot of this, I ended up writing the origin of Wolverine for Marvel, and 6 years of Spider-Man, such and such. But at the time, I was very interested in video games, so I started innovating on video game storytelling. So I've done like 6 platinum selling video games, work in film, animation, comics, television, new media, you name it, I do it, because apparently I can't work out what I want to be when I grow up.
That's amazing. And I remember that they would sometimes, some of the comic shops would stock those 2000 ADs and stuff like that. And it was always so cool because like there would be like a couple of British ones, and then there would sometimes be like an American one packaged all together in like one magazine format. And it was really cool because you were getting exposure to a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
Cool.
We loved American comics. I mean, I used to get some sort of Daredevil and Spider-Man and stuff when I was a little kid, but I grew up in the countryside, so I didn't really get to see much of it.
Right.
The thing I was really struck by was the Uncanny Tales and all the EC comics, of the 50s. That stuff, Amazing Fantasy, whatever it was called, a lot of the science fiction ones and fantasy ones were amazing to me. So I'm sort of lucky. I hit the ground running at 20 in this business, and I've only ever had that experience. So I didn't really break in so much as crash in by mistake through the ceiling,
Now, did you ever come across any of the old Green Hornet comics back in the day?
Yeah, we did. I think once I got involved in the comic book industry, there was a little bit more connection to it. I got actually interested in the radio show because my mum listened to the radio exclusively. We didn't have a television when I was a kid. Living out in the countryside, we just didn't have much, right? But listening to the radio show, they would occasionally play it. My mum would occasionally get a chance to listen to it. There were like tapes of it and stuff like that. And I heard a few more when I was here. So, then I sort of learned about it. And obviously having a lot of friends in the comic industry, I was lucky enough that when I was doing really well at Marvel, Kevin Smith was really into my work, and so he was really into this, and so I've had a few chats with him about this, and
yeah. Hopefully he's watching. We could really use the Kevin Smith bump, as it were. But beside that, so one of the things that you did in the introduction is you sat down with Peter Wax, a good friend of mine. And you guys had like a conversation about how the Green Hornet sort of influenced a lot of the writers who went on to write series such as like Shang-Chi and stuff like that. So, outside Kevin Smith, I mean, what were some of the just some of the titles that you saw that you knew the people were like really big Green Hornet fans, or even pulp in general? We can talk about.
I mean, almost like pulp in general, but I think pulp comes out of the Green Hornet in the sense, like it's all roads lead here in some ways. Yeah, I think so. And I've just, as you know, I mean, I'm not going to spoil the intro, although the intro is not necessarily a big part of what you do, but I just feel that. You can draw a straight line from Batman to the Hornet, and you can draw a straight line from so many things right to it. But if you think about the phenomena that it was, a lot of what I wrote about and a lot of what I talked about with Peter was how you can take great moments in the history of entertainment, and you can boil them down to almost a feeling or an atmosphere. And I love the thought that there are certain moments in time and the history of entertainment you know, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was one I think that I cited. You know, when you heard that as a radio play, that's the first encounter I had with it, was a BBC radio play. And that made you feel a certain thing. You laughed out loud and you just had this feeling. And you have a feeling about, say, the first Star Wars movie, when that ship comes over and it just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. You're like, I've never seen anything like this in my life, because nothing had existed before then that was like that first ship coming over in the opening sequence. And that was really what the Green Hornet was. It was just this this feeling or atmosphere, nothing like it. Here comes the car, here they come, and there's the music, and bang, and you're just sitting there. It actually always makes me think, I don't know if you guys are familiar, it always makes me think of Ren and Stimpy, because they did brilliant parodies of it, and they did Commander Hog and Cadet Stimpy. And they did play the same kind of music, this kind of busy music, and, you know, blast off to adventure in the amazing year 400 billion. And I was like, because that feeling of just sitting around a radio or something and listening to this stuff, it must have almost like changed fiction at that point. It changed the way that people consume fictions. And that's why I think it's important, you know.
Very good. Thank you. And I can't wait for everybody to read your introduction. And so much honor to have you pop in and say hi and everything like that.
No, I'm really hopeful that you guys do amazing with the anthology. You know, the best of luck. I hate that I have usurped somebody. You have to bring them back because being British, it kills me. That was like so rude of me to show up and beat somebody out.
That's okay. It would have been rude of us to keep you in the back room the whole time. So
no, we appreciate you being here and telling us all your stories.
Yeah. Hey, Frank, what are we at right now? What's our total for the Kickstarter?
1612. Is that a good year?
All right. That is a great start, everybody. And this Kickstarter runs for about a month. And we will be revealing our stretch goals, and there's lots of backer rewards.
We'll talk about this. The first stretch goal that if we make our goal, is going to be art for all of the chapters, right?
Yes.
Interior art.
Yeah. Interior art by the amazing Dennis Calero. And he did the Marvel Noirs and stuff like that. He's going to be doing our interior covers, and he might be possibly doing something else for us if we hit that next stretch goal.
I've worked with Dennis before.
Yeah, Dennis is great.
I pretty much work with everybody, to be honest, but you know.
Right. So all right.
Number 2 for our last, we have our last drawing coming up. So please get your names in. Right now I have Nathan, I have Slasher, I have Eugene, I have Rain, I have Dave, and I have Jameen. So if you haven't put your name in, and if you're still there, please announce yourself.
Right. If there's anybody else watching, so get your name in. All right. So big thank you. Everybody's rearranged now. So first of all, big thank you for Megan Mackey for coming in. She's in the chat now. Michael Haspel, thank you. Kim May, thank you. Sumiko, thank you. Keith DeCandido, who came into the chat, and the legendary Paul Jenkins, thank you for coming in, and everybody who showed up in the chat, and all of you out there who've already backed this project. This is big for Moonstone. They had an excellent Kickstarter a couple years ago with Kolchak, and we want to make this as big as that. So please share this video, share the links with your friends on your social media and so forth. All right, Frank, are we ready for the last drawing?
Yep, and I'm going to put the link for the Kickstarter back in the chat for so it's we're up to 1,700 now.
Right.
So here again, here's the link. And before we go into that, I just want to show you that some of the stuff that's on the Kickstarter that you can also purchase exclusively of the anthology, because we have a whole bunch of stuff that you can take home. So we have a bunch of little Green Hornet 2 shots here. One's by Jim Beard, double shots. This is one of the larger novels, the case files. Remember, the other one's going to be a hardcover. This is a soft cover, but we have the Chronicle
hardcover like this one. So that's a no, this one's the Toluta. I forget who did the cover for this.
That's what we're giving away right now is the white one.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a copy of that.
Yeah.
Then we have a double shot here. So these are all on the Kickstarter that you can purchase along with the anthology.
And Michael has a pledge level that gets you a critique of your manuscript. And thank you, Megan. Sumiko is doing what we call a Tuckerization, where you get to name a character in her story. Mary Fan is doing the same thing. She's got ebooks. Keith has got ebooks. Kevin J. Anderson's got ebooks. And then we've got an amazing all-in pledge level that will get you a whole bunch of stuff, including some rare stuff that we'll be revealing as things go along. So, all right, let's do that last drawing, and then we got to get out of here.
All right. So again, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. So we're going to do a randomizer for up to 6 this time. Okay, and it looks like it's Rain. Are you Rain? Are you still here in the chat? Rain, are you still here? If she's gone, and I'll do it again.
All right.
But also the all-in will also include a signed Van Williams comic, right?
Yep. We've got a issue of the Now Graphics Green Hornet and comic. It's one of the floppies, and it's signed by Van Williams, and that will be in our all-in-one or all-in pledge level. So that's a very unique collector's item, and plus we'll have some other collector's items in there as well. So okay, it doesn't look like Rain is responding. Let's run it one more time.
All right, so now I'm down to 2, 3, 4, down to 5 this time. 6. All right. Number 4, 1, 2, 3. Dave T.
Dave T, are you still here?
May have lost everybody.
All right.
Be nice if I knew who was here, because I know we're at up to 10.
Okay. All right. Well, how about this?
Oh,
Who's left? We've got a couple of people. We got Nathan, Slasher's still here. I think that's
for a fact.
Yeah. Let's. Hey, if you're still in the chat, message Frank. Put your email up there, Frank. Message Frank. We're going to get everybody a book. All right. Every one of you is going to get a book. So that is here live. Don't be watching this like 3 days from now and message Frank for the book, because we'll know. Because the Shadow knows and the Green Hornet knows. All right. So everybody, hey, thank you all very much again from the bottom of my heart for your stories. Your words have honored me. They've honored the Green Hornet and Cato. Thank you, Frank, for running this. And everybody, have a great weekend coming up. Be safe out there. All right. Take care. And
all right. Yeah, let's get us to like 5 today. It'd be awesome. Get the 5 grand today.
All right.
Sounds good. Have a good night, everybody.
Rain showed up. Rain showed up, but we'll get you a book too. Yeah. Anybody who didn't get a book, just message Frank and we'll get you one if you were here live. All right. All right. Yeah, you guys all take care. Everybody be safe, and we're out.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. All right. Bye-bye.
Stop being live. We're still live, Frank. Frank's left, but I'm still you and my, so
Yeah.
this is the time where we start talking about the other authors. So
It's all good.
I think I'm just going to click leave studio at this point.
Oh, and leave me in here alone. I could do anything.
Yeah, as long as it's not singing. So
All
right. Yeah, we this is my first live stream, so with this kind of thing. So I think there's some bugs to work out. Maybe some hornets to work out.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna leave. Bye, Mike.
Peace. Later.
Later.